Welcome to our final lesson of Week 1. Throughout this week, we've explored systems thinking, frameworks for assessment, equity analysis, and intervention mapping. Now we turn to something equally important: how we work together. Public health is a team sport. The most brilliant intervention design will fail if the team implementing it can't collaborate effectively. Today, we'll learn how to charter an agile team, creating the foundation for effective teamwork throughout the program planning process. By the end of this lesson, you'll accomplish three objectives. First, explain the core principles of Agile project management. We introduced Agile in Lesson 1, and now we'll go deeper into how it works in practice. Second, define team roles, responsibilities, and working agreements. Clear expectations prevent confusion and conflict later. And third, create a team charter that establishes shared accountability. This document becomes your team's constitution, the agreement that governs how you work together. Let's start with why team chartering matters. Research consistently shows that teams with clear agreements outperform teams without them, and the reasons are practical. Without explicit agreements, people make assumptions. Different assumptions lead to conflict. Someone thinks meetings should start on time. Someone else thinks 5 minutes late is fine. Someone expects quick email responses. Someone else checks email once a day. These small differences accumulate. A team charter prevents these common sources of conflict by making expectations explicit. It creates psychological safety because when the norms are clear, people feel safer being honest. And critically, it establishes norms before stress and conflict arise. When you're in the middle of a crisis is not the time to figure out how your team operates. Before we build our charter, let's revisit the core Agile principles that should guide our teamwork. First, individuals and interactions over processes and tools. The relationships between team members matter more than the project management software you use. Second, working solutions over comprehensive documentation. In public health, this means focusing on programs that actually work, rather than perfect plans that never get implemented. Third, collaboration over contract negotiation. We work with communities and partners, not against them. We adjust based on what we learn, not based on what was written in the grant. Fourth, responding to change over following a plan. When the situation changes, we adapt. We don't pretend reality matches our original assumptions. These principles shape how Agile teams operate. In Agile methodology, there are three primary roles. The product owner represents stakeholder needs and sets priorities. In public health, this person keeps the community's needs at the center. They decide what's most important to work on and why. The Scrum Master facilitates the process and removes obstacles. They're not the boss. They're the servant leader who makes it possible for the team to do its best work. They run meetings, track progress, and solve problems that block progress. Team members execute the work and bring their expertise. Each person contributes their skills to move the project forward. Here's what's important. These roles are about function, not hierarchy. The Scrum Master doesn't outrank team members. The product owner doesn't manage people. These are ways of organizing work, not traditional management structures. Now let's look at what goes into a team charter. First is team purpose. Why does this team exist? What are we trying to accomplish together? This should connect to the broader mission. Second is goals. What will success look like? Be specific. How will we know when we've achieved what we set out to do? Third is roles. Who does what? Beyond the agile roles, what specific responsibilities does each team member have? Fourth is working agreements. How will we operate? This covers everything from meeting norms to decision-making processes. And fifth is communication norms. How will we stay connected? What tools will we use? What's the expected response time? When do we meet? Each of these components deserves careful thought and explicit discussion. Let's dive deeper into working agreements. For meeting norms, when do meetings start? Do they start on time or do we wait for latecomers? How do meetings end? What preparation is expected before meetings? For decision making, how will decisions be made? By consensus, by the product owner, by majority vote. Different decisions might use different methods. For conflict resolution, how will disagreements be handled? This is crucial. All teams have conflict. Healthy teams have agreed upon ways to work through it. And for quality standards, what does done mean for our work? When can we say a task is complete? Having a shared definition of done prevents arguments later about whether work meets expectations. The definition of done deserves special attention. It's a shared understanding of what complete work looks like. Without this, teams often accumulate almost done work, tasks that are 90% complete but never quite finished. The definition of done specifies criteria that must be met before work is considered finished. For example, work must be reviewed by at least one other team member. Documentation must be updated. The intervention component must be pilot tested, whatever makes sense for your context. The key is that everyone agrees on these criteria in advance. When someone says they're done with a task, everyone knows exactly what that means. Communication norms are essential, especially for teams that don't work in the same physical space. Agree on primary communication channels. What's for quick questions? What's for detailed discussions? What's for urgent issues? Set expected response times. Not everyone needs to respond to emails within an hour, but if the team expects quick responses, say so explicitly. Establish a regular meeting schedule. In Agile, teams often have daily stand-ups, brief check-ins where everyone shares what they're working on and any obstacles they face. Weekly reviews look at what was accomplished. These rhythms keep everyone aligned and define how to raise urgent issues. What counts as urgent? How should urgent issues be communicated? Who needs to be notified? Here's a critical point about team charters. The charter must be created collaboratively, not imposed. If a leader writes the charter and hands it to the team, you lose most of the benefit. The power is in the discussion. When team members hash out the details together, they develop shared understanding. They surface different assumptions. They build buy-in. Every team member should have input and should explicitly agree to the terms. The discussion is as valuable as the document itself. It's where alignment happens. And remember, the charter isn't permanent. It should be revisited and revised as the team learns what's working and what isn't. Some teams review their charter every few weeks. Let's wrap up week 1 with our key takeaways. Teams with clear agreements consistently outperform those without them. Taking time to align pays dividends throughout the project. Agile roles, product owner, scrum master, and team member organize work without creating traditional hierarchy. They clarify who does what without establishing who bosses whom. Team charters include purpose, goals, roles, working agreements, and communication norms. Each element prevents different types of team dysfunction. The definition of done is particularly powerful. It prevents the accumulation of almost done work that never quite gets finished. And critically, charters must be created collaboratively and revisited regularly. The document is a living agreement, not a historical artifact. Congratulations on completing week 1. You've built a strong foundation in systems thinking, assessment frameworks, equity analysis, intervention mapping, and team chartering. Next week, we'll explore AI augmented needs assessment. Thank you.